The old houses, they hold secrets, stories whispered in the dead of night echoing through empty halls, stories of laughter and love, of sorrow and loss, imprinted on the very walls. But some houses, they hold more than memories. They harbor shadows, remnants of lives abruptly ended, of anguish echoing through the ages. These are the houses that whisper our deepest fears, the places where reason turns cold, and the line between the living and the dead blurs like a fading photograph. This is the story of one such house. Ravenwood, they call it. A name whispered with a shudder, a place avoided by locals as if it were cursed. A grand old mansion, perched precariously on a windswept cliff overlooking the relentless ocean, its silhouette a jagged scar against the dying light. The locals say it's haunted, this house. They say the walls breathe with the sorrows of the past, that the air crackles with unseen energy. They say that if you listen closely, on a night when the wind howls like a banshee and the rain lashes against the window panes, you can hear them. The whispers, the moans, the desperate pleas for peace that never come. This is a story of Ravenwood, but be warned, once you step inside, you may never truly leave. My first encounter with Ravenwood was as unexpected as it was unsettling. I was a young journalist then, fresh out of college and hungry for a story. I had heard the whispers, of course, the local legends surrounding the old mansion. That is, until that night. I was driving along the coast, chasing a lead on a completely unrelated story, when a sudden downpour obscured the road ahead. It wound its way up the cliff face towards a silhouette that sent a shiver down my spine. Even through the driving rain, Ravenwood was unmistakable. Driven by curiosity, I parked the car and approached the house. The wrought iron gates were rusted and hung open as if inviting me in. The storm intensified as I stepped onto the overgrown path leading to the front door, and that's when I felt it. A cold hand seemed to grip my heart, stopping it dead in my chest. I knew then, with a certainty that defied logic, that I was not alone. Ravenwood loomed large before me, its shadow stretching out to engulf me like a predator. Built in the Gothic style, all pointed arches and gargoyles leering down from the rooftops. The windows, like vacant eyes, stared back at me, reflecting the storm's fury. I reached out a hand, hesitant, and touched the cold, damp stone of the house. The chill that ran up my arm was instant and profound. I could hear the wind whistling through the gaps in the roof tiles. For a moment I stood there, paralyzed by a fear so intense. Part of me screamed to turn back, to run while I still could, but another part urged me forward, compelled me to uncover the secrets. It was then, in that moment of indecision, that I heard it. A sound so faint, so fleeting that I might have imagined it. A whisper carried on the wind that seemed to come from within the very walls of the house. A name, Blackwood. Driven by a morbid curiosity and the journalist's insatiable thirst for a story, I stepped across the threshold and into the belly of the beast. The grand foyer, once the epitome of Victorian opulence, now stood as a desolate reminder of a glorious past swallowed by time and neglect. Dust motes danced in the faint light filtering through the grimy arched windows, illuminating the faded grandeur of the space. A massive, intricately carved mahogany staircase dominated the far wall, its once gleaming banister now coated in a thick layer of dust. A tattered velvet runner, its deep crimson hue now faded to a rusty brown, cascaded down the center of the stairs, leading the eye upwards towards the shadows that clung to the upper floors. Above, a massive crystal chandelier hung precariously from the vaulted ceiling, its once sparkling prisms now dull and cobwebbed. The air hung heavy and stagnant, thick with the scent of decay and the whispers of forgotten memories. It felt as if the very air within Ravenwood was holding its breath, watching my every move with an unseen gaze. A sense of unease prickled at the back of my neck, the feeling of being watched intensifying with each step I took into the heart of the mansion. The silence was deafening, broken only by the creaking of the house settling around me, and the distant rhythmic crashing of waves against the cliffs below. Through a set of elaborately carved double doors lay the library. Once a sanctuary of knowledge, it now stood as a mausoleum of forgotten words. The faint scent of mildew and aged paper hung in the air. Floor-to-ceiling bookshelves lined the walls, sagging under the weight of countless volumes. Many books lay open, their pages yellowed and brittle. At the far end, bathed in pale light, sat a massive oak desk, its surface littered with scattered papers, inkwells, and a quill stand. I could almost hear the echo of a voice whispering words from the past. A strange compulsion drew me up the grand staircase, each creaking step echoing ominously. The air grew colder as I ascended, sending a shiver down my spine. I reached the landing, my gaze drawn to a room at the end of the hallway. Its door stood slightly ajar, beckoning me forward. It was the nursery. A chill ran down my spine as I realized where I stood. The room was surprisingly well preserved, as if frozen in time. A rocking horse, its once bright paint now chipped and faded, stood frozen mid-gallop in the center of the room. A crib with peeling paint sat in the corner, a small faded teddy bear resting against the yellowed linen. The air in the nursery was heavy, thick with a cloying sweetness that I couldn't quite place. It was an unsettling aroma, out of place in the otherwise musty and decaying mansion. A chill ran down my spine as I noticed a single doll lying discarded on the floor, its porcelain face cracked, revealing a hollow darkness within. Its eyes, two vacant black orbs, seemed to follow my every move. A child's laughter, high-pitched and chillingly clear, echoed in the silence, seeming to emanate from the very walls themselves. It was a fleeting sound, gone as quickly as it appeared, leaving behind a residue of unease that clung to me like cobwebs. The laughter was devoid of joy, replaced by a chilling emptiness that sent a shiver down my spine. I stumbled back from the nursery door, my heart pounding in my chest. The laughter, though gone, continued to echo in my ears. I pressed on, my journalistic curiosity battling against fear. The master bedroom was a study in contrasts. Once a sanctuary of luxury, it now stood as a testament to the fleeting nature of wealth. A massive four-poster bed dominated the room, its heavy velvet drapes drawn shut. Dust-covered furniture stood like sentinels in the gloom. A grand fireplace, its hearth cold and empty, occupied one wall. A chill ran down my spine as I approached a vanity table. A silver-backed hairbrush lay on the surface, its bristles still bearing strands of long, dark hair. The mirror, once reflecting wealth and beauty, was now clouded and opaque. As I leaned closer, I could have sworn I saw a flicker of movement, a fleeting glimpse of a figure standing behind me, a woman with long, dark hair and unsettling eyes. I spun around, my heart pounding in my chest, but found myself alone. The room was silent, the only sound my own ragged breathing. I was acutely aware of the weight of the house around me, the feeling of being watched, followed by unseen eyes. The air itself seemed thick with unspoken stories, with the residue of emotions long since past. It was then, standing in the heart of Ravenwood, surrounded by the ghosts of its past, that I truly understood the weight of the whispers that clung to the mansion like a shroud. These were not mere stories, not local legends to scare children and tourists. They were echoes of something real, something dark and insidious that permeated the very fabric of the house. I knew then, with a certainty that chilled me to the bone, that Ravenwood held secrets, secrets that it had no intention of revealing easily. And as I continued my exploration of the mansion, delving deeper into its shadowy heart, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being drawn into a game I didn't fully understand, a game with stakes far higher than I could have ever imagined. Though grand and opulent, echoed with unspoken resentment and a chilling sense of isolation. Tragedy struck the Blackwood family with the suddenness of a lightning strike. Eleanor succumbed to a mysterious illness, casting a pall over Ravenwood. Edgar, consumed by grief, became reclusive, throwing himself into his work. William, neglected, sought solace in books and the occult. Rumors of strange occurrences and Eleanor's ghost haunting the halls isolated the family further. Edgar dismissed these whispers, deepening the family's isolation. William blossomed into a young man, inheriting his mother's gentle nature. A new governess, Isabella, arrived, and their relationship quickly deepened. Their love was forbidden, a dangerous secret. Edgar, furious, forbade William from seeing Isabella, threatening disinheritance. William, for the first time, defied his father. Their love story became a tragic legend. Tension reached a fever pitch at Ravenwood. One stormy night, Edgar was found dead, a gunshot wound to the head. William disappeared, his body never found. Isabella, accused of inciting the tragedy, was driven away in disgrace. Some say she returned home, others that she joined her lost love in death. The details of that night remain shrouded in mystery. The Blackwood tragedy sent shockwaves through the community. The mansion became a symbol of tragedy and loss. Whispers of the family's fate grew into local legend. The truth remains buried beneath layers of time and speculation. The Blackwood tragedy stands as a chilling reminder of the darkness within opulent facades. Old Man Hemmings, the caretaker of Ravenwood, shared his burden. He spoke of cold spots, disembodied whispers, and a ghostly woman in white. His stories sent shivers crawling up my spine. Hemmings believed the guilt of the Blackwood family lingered, staining the air. Ravenwood was a place where stories found you. His tales were a chilling testament to the mansion's haunted past. Sarah and Mark shared their harrowing experience at Ravenwood. They described an oppressive atmosphere and a palpable sense of dread. Sarah saw a shadowy figure, and Mark witnessed a door slam shut by an unseen force. They fled in terror, their laughter replaced by panicked gasps. Sarah refuses to speak of that night, and Mark is plagued by nightmares. Their experience is a haunting reminder of Ravenwood's dark presence. Madame Evangeline, a renowned psychic, visited Ravenwood. She moved through the mansion with eerie grace, sensing a love story cut short. She described William and Isabella's tragic love and Edgar's rage. Eleanor's spirit was trapped within the walls. Her vision culminated in the master bedroom, witnessing the fateful night. Her insights added to the mansion's haunting legacy. Dr. Lewis, a skeptic, dismissed my findings. He attributed the phenomena to psychological tricks and environmental factors. He challenged me to seek rational explanations. His words, though logical, did little to quell my unease. Ravenwood remained a place of mystery and fear. The mansion's secrets continued to haunt me. I returned to Ravenwood, feeling watched by unseen eyes. Exploring the attic, I found a child's doll with a cracked face. I could have sworn its head turned slightly. A sudden gust of wind slammed a shutter closed. I spun around but found myself alone. The doll had vanished, deepening the mystery. I left Ravenwood with a sense of wonder and fear. The mansion had left its mark on me. It was a place where the veil between the living and the dead seemed thin. Ravenwood's secrets were locked away, waiting for the next soul. I knew I would never forget my time there. Some mysteries are best left unsolved. The Library of Ravenwood held an allure like no other room. Dr. Elizabeth Crow, a paranormal investigator, surveyed the room. She spoke of electromagnetic fields and EVP recordings. Her approach was scientific and methodical. We can't dismiss the experiences of those who've encountered the unexplained. Her insights added to the mansion's enigmatic history. Father Michael, a parish priest and a man of deep faith, offered a different perspective. His presence, calming the past, refused to be silenced. Dr. Crow, ever the pragmatist, cautioned against attributing all unexplained thick with unspoken tension. Dr. Crow and Father Michael, though approaching the paranormal from vastly different perspectives, shared a mutual respect, their conversation a delicate dance between science and spirituality. Perhaps the truth lies somewhere in between, Father Michael mused, his gaze fixed on the flickering flames in the fireplace, a confluence of factors both scientific and spiritual that create the conditions for these experiences. He spoke of the human soul as an energy that transcends physical death, capable of leaving behind echoes of its existence. He suggested that places like Ravenwood, with their long and often tragic histories, might act as magnets for these lingering energies, drawing them in like moths to a flame. Dr. Crow, though hesitant to fully embrace the spiritual implications, acknowledged the possibility that science had yet to fully comprehend the intricacies of the human mind and its connection to the world around it. We must remain open to all possibilities, she conceded, her gaze meeting Father Michael's with a newfound understanding. The pursuit of knowledge requires both faith and skepticism, a willingness to explore the unknown without sacrificing our critical thinking. As I listened to their conversation, I realized that Ravenwood wasn't simply a haunted house. It was a microcosm of the larger mystery that surrounded us all, a place where the boundaries of reality blurred and the answers were never easy. The air in the library crackled with anticipation. Moonlight cast long, dancing shadows across the book-lined walls. We sat in a circle around the old oak table, Dr. Crow, Father Michael, myself, and Madame Celeste. Madame Celeste, with eyes that held ancient secrets, insisted on a traditional séance. She'd instructed us to dim the lights and hold hands. A hush fell as she began to speak in a low, melodic voice. Her words, a mixture of French and Latin, swirled around us. The air grew heavy, thick with the scent of lavender. "Spirits of Ravenwood," she intoned, her voice rising in power. "We call upon you to make your presence known." A cold shiver ran down my spine, and I could feel goosebumps rising on my arms. We waited, our breaths shallow, our hearts pounding in unison. Minutes stretched into an eternity, punctuated only by the ticking of the grandfather clock in the corner and the distant roar of the ocean against the cliffs below. Then, it began. A low humming sound, barely audible at first, vibrated through the room. The crystal chandelier above us swayed slightly, its prisms casting flickering patterns of light across the walls. Books tumbled from the shelves, their pages rustling like whispers in the darkness. Madame Celeste's voice rose in a crescendo, her words becoming a torrent of unintelligible sounds. She gasped, her body convulsing, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and awe. "Edgar," she whispered, her voice hoarse. "He's here. He's angry. He doesn't want us to know." The room plunged into chaos. The table at which we sat began to shake violently, its surface cracking under the strain. Objects flew across the room, propelled by an unseen force. The air crackled with static electricity, and the stench of ozone filled our nostrils. Through the maelstrom, I saw a fleeting glimpse of a figure standing behind Madame Celeste. A tall, imposing figure shrouded in shadow, its eyes burning with a cold, malevolent light. Terror, primal and overwhelming, seized me in its icy grip. Instinct took over, and I scrambled back from the table, my heart pounding in my chest. Madame Celeste remained seated, her eyes fixed on the shadowy figure behind her. The shadowy figure lunged, its form shifting and swirling like smoke. Madame Celeste screamed, and then everything went black. When I regained consciousness, the library was silent, bathed in the soft light of dawn. Madame Celeste was gone, vanished without a trace. The experience had shaken me to my core, leaving me with more questions than answers. The drive back from Ravenwood was a blur. The rugged coastline, once a source of stark beauty, now seemed to press in on me, mirroring the suffocating dread that had taken root in my soul. I couldn't shake the feeling of unseen eyes watching my every move, the spectral touch of icy fingers trailing along my spine. The scent of decay, of dust and forgotten things, lingered in my nostrils, a pungent reminder of the mansion's hold on my senses. Even the sunlight filtering through the windshield seemed unable to penetrate the darkness that had seeped into my bones. The world outside the car, the mundane traffic, the chirping of birds, the laughter of children playing in a park, it all felt distant, muffled, as if a thick glass wall now separated me from the normalcy of everyday life. I had gone to Ravenwood seeking answers, hoping to unravel the mysteries that clung to the old mansion like cobwebs. Instead, I had stumbled into a labyrinth of terror, a realm where the line between the living and the dead blurred into a terrifying, indistinguishable haze. The experience had left an indelible mark on my psyche, a chilling reminder of the fragility of our perception and the terrifying vastness of the unknown. I tried to piece together the fragments of my experience, to create a coherent narrative from the shards of terror that haunted my waking hours. The stories, the eyewitness accounts, the chilling encounters within Ravenwood's walls, they swirled in my mind, refusing to be ignored. The Blackwood tragedy, a tale of forbidden love, bitter resentment, and unspeakable loss, formed the foundation of the mansion's darkness. Edgar Blackwood, the patriarch driven by ambition and consumed by his own demons, haunted the halls like a vengeful specter. Eleanor, his wife, trapped in a loveless marriage and silenced by an untimely demise, seemed to drift through the mansion's rooms, her sorrow a palpable presence. And William, the son caught in the crossfire of his parents' toxic relationship, remained an enigma, his fate forever entwined with the mansion's tragic legacy. The stories of the caretaker, the terrified couple, the psychic's vision, even the skeptic's rational explanations, they all wove together, creating a tapestry of terror, a haunting symphony of fear that resonated deep within my soul. But amidst the fear, amidst the lingering chills and the unsettling certainty that I had been forever changed by my time at Ravenwood, a profound sense of unease lingered. The unanswered questions gnawed at me, their sharp edges refusing to be smoothed by time or reason. What had happened to Madame Celeste? Had she truly been claimed by the darkness that clung to Ravenwood, or had she somehow managed to escape its clutches, her sanity forever shattered by the encounter? What had the shadowy figure in the library been? A manifestation of Edgar Blackwood's rage, a demonic entity drawn to the mansion's sorrow, or simply a figment of our collective imagination, fueled by fear and the suggestive power of the seance? And what of Ravenwood itself? Was it merely a house haunted by its past, a repository of residual energy and tragic memories, or was it something more, something ancient and malevolent, a conduit to a realm beyond human comprehension? I returned to my life, to the routines and rhythms of the everyday world, but Ravenwood remained, It lingered in the shadows of my mind, a constant companion, a chilling reminder of the mysteries that lie hidden beneath the surface of our perceived reality. The experience had awakened something within me, a curiosity about the unseen world, a fascination with the mysteries that lie beyond the realm of the explainable. I delved into books on the paranormal, on psychic phenomena, on the history of haunted places. I sought out others who had experienced the unexplained, who had felt the icy breath of the unknown on their skin. I listened to their stories, their voices filled with a mixture of awe and terror, and I realized that I was not alone. The world, I discovered, was full of Ravenwoods, places where the veil between the seen and the unseen thinned, where the impossible whispered its secrets to those who dared to listen. Even now, years later, I can still feel Ravenwood's pull. It beckons to me in my dreams, its shadowy halls and echoing whispers a constant presence in the darkest corners of my mind. I know that I will return someday, drawn back to its embrace by a force I can neither explain nor resist. Ravenwood is more than just a haunted house. It is a symbol of the enduring power of the past, of the mysteries that lie hidden in the shadows of our lives. It is a reminder that some doors, once opened, can never truly be closed, and that some secrets, once revealed, can never be forgotten. And so, I leave you with this. If you ever find yourself drawn to a place like Ravenwood, a place where the air is thick with unspoken stories, and the shadows seem to dance with unseen life, be warned. Listen to the whispers of your own heart, for they may be the only guide you have in a realm where reason holds no sway, and the line between reality and nightmare blurs into a terrifying and unforgettable